Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great. Just like Cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
All right, welcome back, tokers and tokettes and non-toking lovers of liberty. It's 4:02 in the Pacific Time Zone, or 4:20 for you dyslexics out there. Time for Toker Talk Radio. Got a couple of segments we're going to do here live, and then at the bottom of the hour, we'll get you back to some ICBC highlights, I'm trying to say. Got a clip of Rick Steves' keynote speech on Monday, as well as some video from Troy Dayton from the ArcView Group giving a look at the growth of the marijuana industry, and John W. Lee from MCLR, one of the organizations looking toward legalization of California in 2016. Coming up next, after this next break, you're going to get a bonus radical rant. We're going to rant a little bit about the state of Ohio. I've been going rounds on Twitter with a whole bunch of people in Ohio who are really mad at me for supporting legalization. We'll talk about how that's going down. Also, I want to take some time here in this segment to talk about a video that's going around featuring Afro Man. You know Afro Man from the song Because I Got High, right? He was recently at the High Times Southern California Cannabis Cup as well. I got to see him there. I didn't get to meet him or anything, but some associates of mine took some photos with him and such. Anyway, if you've seen the video, there's this video of Afro Man on stage playing a concert. He's playing his guitar. He's soloing. He's in the zone. And then some woman gets up on the stage and sidles up next to him and kind of does the booty bump on him. And Afro Man's got his head down, he's soloing, and just turns and cold cocks her. And I don't know if he had a closed fist. It looked like an open slap, but still, just full 180-degree spin and knocked her flying into the back of the stage. And a lot of people are upset at me today because I sent a tweet out about this incident. I sent a link to the Vine that was going around about this and added, "Please, Kanye West, interrupt Afro Man on stage someday." Now, that got some people upset at me because they felt like I was condoning violence against women. So let me just be clear. I do not condone violence against women. In fact, during the Ray Rice incident with the domestic abuse situation, I was one of the first people screaming from the rooftops about him getting a light 2-game suspension when Josh Gordon had to sit an entire season for weed. So, I've spoken out on this many times, and I hope the listeners out there have no doubt as to where I stand on the issue. That said, I have also been a professional musician in my career. I'm also cognizant of how Dimebag Darrell, rest in peace, was shot on stage by a crazed fan. I'm also cognizant of how Lamb of God and their frontman had to go through a trial in the Czech Republic because of a fan jumping on stage who ended up dying after falling off that stage. So I have this default belief about the stage that you should not be on it. Now, there's obviously some wiggle room there. You get some punk shows, for example, where it's expected for people to jump up on the stage and then crowd surf, right? But that's a tone that's set by the artist. It's It's not something you invite yourself to do. Now, if Afro Man had been waving at her to get up on the stage, that's a different story. But he obviously didn't want people on the stage. And that should be the default setting for people, is to understand that you do not belong on that stage. I also recall, if you remember from the Rolling Stones with their 1980 tour, was it Steel Wheels? I don't remember which tour, but there's that shot of Keith Richards and Mick Jagger, and the balloons are falling, and Mick's got the flag around his shoulders, and some yahoo comes running across the stage at Keith Richards, and he takes his guitar off and cold cocks him with the guitar. Of course, that was a white guy hitting another white guy, so not as much outrage happened then. Folks, don't get on stage, and a performer has every right to defend themselves when they're on stage. And to the people that think, oh, she didn't do anything, it's just a booty bump, he doesn't know that. He's in the middle of a guitar solo. That's a lot of concentration and kind of a zone that you're in. It's reflex to push out or fight back against anyone who crowds into your stage space. You don't know who's there. And someone who's got a celebrity level like Afro Man, you don't know what kind of crazies are out there or what they're going to pull. So I do not condone violence against women. But I understand violence against assholes getting your personal space while you're on stage. Now, maybe his reaction was a little too much. Maybe he could have backed off. Maybe there should have been better security there. There's all sorts of maybes involved here. But she is the one who initiated this contact. She is the one who began by touching him on stage without his permission, which is technically assault. So if you've seen that video, that's my feelings on that. You can weigh in on my Facebook page, facebook.com/radicalruss. Let me know how you feel about that. It's got a lot of people riled up. Maybe we'll talk about that in the chat room as well. When we're coming back to a Radical Rant, stick around.
America's R7 secret agent of progressive change.
The name's Belville. Russ Belville.
This is the Russ Belville Show.
Very easy to remember.
He's the man with the Midas touch. A spider's touch. Such a cold finger beckons you to enter his web of sin. But don't go in. Golden words he will pour in your ear.
420 Radio, the activist radio station. Oregon has joined Washington and Colorado in legalizing marijuana. We're Portland NORML, the national organization for the reform of marijuana laws chapter in Portland, Oregon. Join us as we celebrate the launch of an exciting new era in marijuana freedom in Oregon. Our job has just begun. Powerful interests want to white out the most important portions of Oregon's legalization law. By joining Portland NORML, you add your voice to the thousands who voted for Measure 91 and want it to be implemented as written. The people have spoken. Now it is time for the legislature to obey the will of the people. Find out more about Portland NORML at portlandnormal.org. Attend our monthly membership meetings on the fourth Saturday of the month. See our website for more details. Portland NORML, ensuring responsible adult marijuana consumers are afforded the same rights, privileges, and responsibilities as beer drinkers.
Funky Roller Ring.
Ooh, yeah.
What's happening, Groovy Cats? This is your Funk Master of Ceremonies, Big Daddy, and I want you to join me every Thursday night at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, right here at the Funky Roller Ring.
Ooh, yeah.
Your home of soul, funk, and disco, baby.
Funky-licious.
There's always a party at the Funky Roller Ring.
This is Radical Russ encouraging you to take a look at the Weed Blog every day. Johnny Green and the staff at the Weed Blog are on top of all the latest developments in the fight to end marijuana prohibition nationwide. You can even get the Weed Blog on your smartphone by installing the Weed Blog app for iPhone and Android. If it's about weed, it's on the Weed Blog, including my original writing. So don't delay. Read the Weed Blog today.
We must wage what I have called total war against public enemy number one.
I support a change in law to end federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
That marijuana, pot, grass, whatever you want to call it, is probably the most dangerous drug.
Some think there won't be room for them in jail. We'll make room.
I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it and didn't inhale.
And one major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
Entirely legitimate topic for debate.
Radical Rant.
Welcome back, everybody. 11 after the hour for a special Radical Rant today. And, I went rounds today with various people from Ohio with various Twitter handles who are upset about my, I guess we could call it support of the Responsible Ohio plan. For those of you who don't know, Responsible Ohio is the group that's forming an oligopoly. It's technically not a monopoly. It's an oligopoly, a cartel of the rich that would control all commercial marijuana growing at 10 sites to be mandated in the Constitution belonging to the 10 people who are funding the legalization effort. And a lot of folks don't like this, and I understand why. It's not my personal favorite for a legalization initiative. But as I look at legalization initiatives, I have a fairly common and simple litmus test that I give, and it's this. I'm at home minding my own business, smoking a joint. There's a knock at the door. A police officer is there at the door. I answer the door with the joint in my lips. That encounter ends with him leaving without me, without handcuffs, and without my joint. That's legalization. Everything else from that point forward is stuff that's additional and extra, and we'd love to have it. But the number one thing we have to do as we legalize is to end the contraband nature of marijuana possession. Now, I would prefer marijuana legalization with home grow. I would prefer marijuana legalization that's more open market. But that's preferences, not deal breakers to me. Now, there's another concern about this too, is now when Responsible Ohio first came out with this, those 10 growers would be the only 10 growers in the state, but they have since bowed to pressure and amended their amendment to make it more like Oregon. They're going to make it that you can possess 8 ounces of marijuana and 4 marijuana plants per household, just like Oregon has recently legalized, with one exception. You would have to get a state license to be able to do that. In Oregon, it's just a right. So even that's not as good as it should be, but still, it somewhat defangs the main opposition talking point of this being a grow monopoly. Because it would not be. You would be able to grow 4 plants in your household for your personal use if you so choose. Before they had added that position, I was pretty, on the fence with this thing. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's the thing I can't be against it, but I won't support it. But having added a mechanism by which people can grow at home, I feel that this thing is worthy of supporting. Remember, in 2010, people that wanted perfect legalization said that a 5x5 home garden was too small and that Oakland would end up with a monopoly on marijuana grows. And now, 4 years later, California's still waiting for that next initiative. Oh, I remember them very, very well. In the Prop 19 days, there's definitely going to be better legalization on the ballot in 2012. Definitely. No legalization on the ballot in 2012. Well, there'll definitely be legalization in 2014. No legalization on the ballot. Well, there'll definitely be legalization on the ballot in 2016. Maybe. Let's see what happens. So to the people out there whose excuse is, 2015, let's just skip that and wait till 2016 when we get a better legalization on the ballot, I ask, who's putting that on the ballot? To my knowledge, there's 4 different groups in Ohio, other than this Responsible Ohio group, that are all competing for various levels of legalization. One's got a medical, one's got a CBD, a couple of them have legalization, one's like a regular old legalization, other one's a Jack Harrer style perfect legalization. Hell, I'll support all of them. But who's got the money? Who's got the political clout to pull this off? It's real easy to legalize. We know how it's done now. This isn't rocket science anymore. There's a roadmap to follow. 4 states have already done it, and it goes like this. You come up with some language that gets 60% in a poll, and you find a way to raise $5 million. That's it. So if you can get Jack Harris-style perfect legalization to get 60% in a poll, and you can raise $5 million for the signature gatherers in the campaign to pass it, I'm all for it. But I fear that right now you've got Responsible Ohio, this 2015 that supposedly everybody hates, and even that's not enough to get these 4 groups together to all work on one common set of language, something reasonable that could oppose this 2015 effort, something reasonable for 2016 that has funding and a shot in hell of getting on the ballot and passing. If that were out there, I don't think Responsible Ohio would have much traction. I think a lot of people, even people in the high end of the national legalization movement, could say, yeah, skip it in 2015, go for the good stuff in 2016. But there's no guarantee that's coming. There's no guarantee that's happening. And when people get upset about these big money interests that come in and propose a legalization that you don't like, the person you should be looking at to blame is in the mirror. Don't get upset that somebody finally does come along with enough money and clout and language to get on the ballot when you were given every democratic opportunity available that everyone else has to raise money, get language, poll it, and put it on the ballot. And I'm sorry that it's now rich people that are getting involved in this because they see the money that's available. But I can't help but think that there's somebody in Kansas whose son or daughter is doing time. And if you offered them, hey, George Soros is going to come in and legalize marijuana, but you can only carry a gram of it, nobody can home grow, and only one person produces all the marijuana in the state, I'm sure that mom or dad would jump at something like that to prevent the next kid from having to do time over marijuana possession. And I think one thing that gets forgotten in all this, people want the legalization that they want without realizing that getting a little bit of it gets you a lot of what you want. For instance, you get to possess an ounce of marijuana. Now, some of these activists are complaining, well, another thing that I should put out about this before I forget, this initiative is also calling for stricter laws against selling to people aged 18 to 20 and calling for selling to young people, selling to kids to be a child endangerment charge. I know that's kind of odious, but politically speaking, do you want to be the person who's standing against the idea, or who can be painted as, no, I think it's cool to sell to kids? That one's kind of a political landmine. I wouldn't, fight that too harsh, too much. But anyway, I think people forget that you legalize possession of an ounce or even a gram, and they're complaining, well, it's decrim up to 3.5 ounces. It's decrim up to 100 grams, but this would make it only up to an ounce. Yeah, but that decrimmed 3.5 ounces still means cops can search you, still means that the smell or an alert from a drug dog is enough reason to abrogate your 4th and 5th Amendment rights. A legal ounce or even a legal gram makes it so that marijuana possession is no longer contraband. The smell and sight of it are no longer cause for messing with you. Now, within reason, if a cop sees a bale of marijuana, obviously he knows more that it's more than an ounce. But if he just sees a bulge in your pocket and the smell of marijuana, he don't know that that's a half ounce. He don't know that that's a 1/4 ounce, and you just refuse any searches and you'll be on your way. And now that they've added the home grow provision, that you can get a license to home grow, how are they going to know you got more than 4 plants? Unless you're inviting them in for a look. Because your electricity bill, seeds and stems, your trips to the grow store, the heat signature of your home, none of those things are now probable cause to mess with you.
Yeah, baby!
The number one thing is to get it legal. Once you get it legal, you can fight for everything else. You can fight for expanded home grow. You can fight for another amendment to allow people to form their own marijuana businesses. But you're doing so fighting as citizens with rights rather than criminals. Hey, it's 420. What do you know? Let's take a break, and when we come back, we've got Groovin' Thursday Daily Toker Tunes with Chuck Diesel.
420 Radio, the home of marijuana experts.
With over 1 billion people in the world, chances are there's somebody out there just like you. There are software engineers, pastry chefs, artists, and people with medical conditions. And what do many of these people have in common? They use marijuana. It's expected that marijuana will be legalized in California. And when that happens, what will be the biggest concern? Safety. That's where we come in. High Def Transit is a discreet shuttle service that also serves as a mobile vapor room. Members can medicate on board, while our certified drivers get you to your destination safely, so you can enjoy the ride. So hop in, make friends, and ride safe. High Def Transit.
NORMAL stands for Responsible Adult Cannabis Use. If cannabis use is causing problems in your life, consider taking a break or seeking medical assistance. Consider ceasing cannabis use if you have a family history of mental illness. Don't drive or operate heavy machinery while impaired by cannabis use. Cannabis use is not without risks, even though the risks are far less than those posed by legal drugs. Get.Buzz. .Buzz is the internet platform that fuels community interest, excitement, and new experiences. .Buzz is the premier online destination for internet users seeking the latest news on a variety of topics. .Buzz appeals to groups active in blogging, communications, journalism, advertising, and marketing. .Buzz offers registrants a stronger alternative to the shrinking namespace of existing top-level domain names, such as .com, .net, and .org. Get your name now at get.buzz.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Groovin' Thursday, featuring rap, hip-hop, soul, and funk music. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tunes.
Welcome back, everyone. 23 after the hour. Hope you had a good 420 break. We got Chuck Diesel joining us on the phone. How you doing, Chuck?
Doing good. How are you, Russ?
Dude, I'm doing so good because I got to tell you, the Sunday night performance by Del the Funky Homo Sapien at the after party for ICBC was off the chain. God, he was good.
Nice. Yeah, he's great, man.
Yeah, Del does a good
fan.
live show. And, you know, most of the times when I see these acts that are, you know, a DJ and just one guy rapping, it bores the hell out of me. And sometimes they try to spice that up with a dancer or an extra guy or something like that. Del was just by himself, and his flow is just so musical that I was just enraptured by it. I just loved it. It's a good show.
That's awesome. Yeah, we saw Talib Kweli backed by a full band.
Ooh.
And that was the best thing ever. Anytime you can, I like DJs, and they still had a DJ for a lot of the different sampling, but anytime you can put more musicians on stage, they're all coming together. There's just an infectious energy that you can't deny, you know?
Yeah, and the way the musicians will play off each other as well. You know, a good drummer can sense the way the rapper is flowing and maybe put accents on certain things to match the rap. I mean, there's just so much more that you can do with a live band, and besides, it gives cats a gig. I always like cats having gigs.
No, exactly. I always appreciate when there's more people on. I know it makes, well, you know, from being a musician, it makes the split a little tougher at the end of the night, but I feel like as a consumer, you get more. I mean, you're getting more. We love a Portland band, Jujuba, who plays at the Goodfoot, and I think they're an 8-piece band.
Wow.
But yeah.
A lot of fun. Hey, let's get to our tune for today. You've been bringing us some music from Kevin Gates. I hope I got the right tune up. Out the Mud. Is that right?
Yeah, Out the Mud. Yep. I think that's a good one. And you know, I didn't mention this last time, but he is an independent artist owning his own label, and then has kind of brokered a deal with Cash Money, which is, you know, the Lil Wayne Birdman label, to I believe for their distribution. which I think is pretty awesome. If you can do it independently and then kind of a la carte, just take the best parts of any big deal that comes along, I think that's super commendable.
All right. And what's this album, and how can people get more info on Kevin Gates?
So Kevin Gates, I believe it's kevingates.com. This is Luca Brasi 2, so it's a follow-up album for him. It's not his latest release. The latest was the one we had a track off of last week, By Any Means. But this is, I believe, his sophomore effort. It's really good. I've been kind of blown away as I've been listening. It's one of those where you listen to it once, and you're like, yeah, it's pretty good. And then kind of I like to listen to stuff while I work, while I'm in the garden, things like that. And it just keeps growing on me more and more. So I figured I'd give it another go this week.
All right, let's get to it. This is Kevin Gates with Out the Mud, the Dat Piff exclusive. Thanks, Chuck. We'll talk to you next week.
Adios, Russ.
New year, new money. New year, new money. How you gonna get it? How you gonna get it? Ask the question but know the answer.
DJ Drama, fuck these niggas up.
Hours, niggas, 7 days a week. Me, I don't get tired, I let you other niggas sleep. Turn up for that check and yeah, I get it out the streets. I'm on my Kobe shit, man, I'm still going. In my 30s. I get it out the mud. I get it out the mud. You see me? Watch out, break my wrist. Make that water whip. Stretch it out and flip. I'm all up on my shit. I get it out the mud. I get it out the mud. Watch out, break my wrist. Make that water whip. Stretch it out and flip. I'm all up on my chill. I get it out the mud. Turn up in 2 seconds. Get it with music or coke when I'm stretching. Across the street under a bando and here with your hoe could get her to go fetch. On the scale, but I call it a ruler, and that's what I'm using my method of measure. Got it jumping up out of the pot and my clickety clucking surrounding my property. I meant to say my client tickety. Numbers official ticketed. Out the mud ain't nobody this shit for me. Arrogant, often I'm bigoted. All about money like what they got into me. Breaking down bricks and we blowing good crickety. Say you ain't feeling me, ought to try killing me. Neighborhood love me, it's hard to get rid of me. My baby mothers are sick of me. I put that dick on them, now they ridiculous. Saying that when I don't come in, I'm with a freak bitch. I've been chasing my paper religiously. Why really in the street others pretend to be? Let me get off of my grind and it's sealing me. No one pity me, coming and getting me out of the mud, nigga. I'm the epitome. 24 hours, nigga, 7 days a week. Me, I don't get tired, I let you other niggas sleep. Turn up for that check and yeah, I get it out the streets. Hustle like I'm starving, going hard, I gotta eat. I get it out the mud. I get it out the mud. Watch out, break my wrist. Make that water whip. Stretch it out and flip. I'm all up on my chill. I get it out the mud. I get it out the mud. Watch out, break my wrist. Make that water whip. Stretch it out and flip. I'm all up on my chill. I get it out the mud. Money got my flipping. I ain't waiting on nobody, I'ma go get it. I ain't tripping on a nigga, I'ma go gorilla. Somebody take something from me, I'ma go kill her. Trap booming hard and I'm serving out the window. Brother balled up with a curtain on the window. Face card worth a lot of bands in the hood. Had to lead a dice gang, got a bond out foot. Sunday coming up, pull the cars out, look. Nothing to the grass, I'm a girl called No More Bell. What the hell got all y'all shook? Pool hit the line in the draw. Blood went dry, had to take another route. Pulling up, getting it. I done was sickening. Drop no whip and the nigga gon' vouch. Another 4K just stuffed in the couch. Promise I ain't try to swag, I just got a lot of that. Anybody try me, I'ma put them in the body bag. Follow that, copy that. Pounds in the garbage bag. Back in the backyard, leaving at the driving net. Call him back, jump, no falling back. Quicker than I got it in, I done ran out of that. My demons bring people, my lip out, now I walk shit harder than the bitch. They gon' probably want all that. Hours, nigga, 7 days a week. Me, I don't get tired, I let you other niggas sleep. Turn up for that check and yeah, I get it out the streets. Hustle like I'm starving, going hard, I gotta eat. I get it out the mud. I get it out the mud. Watch out, break my wrist. Make that water whip. Stretch it out and flip. I'm all up on my chill. I get it out the mud. I get it out the mud. Watch out, break my wrist. Make that water whip. Stretch it out and flip. I'm all up on my chill. I get it out the mud.
420 Radio, fighting prohibition since 2012. The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, treat law enforcement with respect and stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak with my attorney." Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at omarfigueroa.com.
What's happening, cool cats? This is Big Daddy, and I want you to cruise on over to the Funky Roller Rink. We'll be grooving all night long. Doors open at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, every Thursday night, right here on RadicalRuss.com.
Funky-licious.
Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Very effective. Check out LushLEDlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you.
Let's get out of here. I have some really good weed back at the hotel.
War on certain American citizens using non-pharmaceutical, non-alcoholic, tobacco-free drugs.
Welcome back, everyone. 32 after the hour, and as we continue our look at dismantling the drug war, we return to the International Cannabis Business Conference in San Francisco, where Rick Steves gave a keynote presentation on Monday to the assembled audience. Let's turn to Alex Rogers and Anthony Johnson and their introduction of Rick Steves at the ICBC.
Yo, we all live out there? Yeah! All right, make some noise. How'd you like yesterday? ICBC. We love you. We love you. You guys are great. I'd also really like to say thank you to, I don't know who was at the party last night, but I want to thank Magnolia Wellness for putting on the sickest party last night. You know, there's also something about Magnolia Wellness. They are the main sponsor of the ICBC, so they are one of Oakland's finest dispensaries, no doubt. You can see them in your program. You know, you want to support places like Magnolia because they support us, and we're not the normal business conference. We have undercurrent of activism that runs through the entire course of this program. And we really appreciate Magnolia Wellness for their support, not only for us, but for the community in general. So if any of y'all are local or still have your cards and you're coming into California, check out Magnolia Wellness because they're great and they've been a huge help to organize this, helping organize this conference. So my hat really goes off to them. I also want to thank a couple other people. My tight crew. There's a couple people that if I didn't have them on my team, there'd be no team, there'd be no ICBC. You know, it's not just me. It is a team, and when you get a good team together, you know, it doesn't always happen right away. You have ups and downs, you know, but if you can get through some things, you know not only that you're a good team, those are your good friends also. Those two people that I need to mention that are very important, that were very important in organizing this event and the rest of the ICBC events to come. We have the Oregon Medical Marijuana Business Conference. It's just an Oregon conference in Eugene next month. It's going to be bananas. And then we have another ICBC in Portland, September 12th and 13th at the Oregon Convention Center, when we'll email you all and get that online sometime in April. And then we're going to do it right here again, February 14th and 15th next year. So just so everybody knows what's up. But the reason we can do all this is I just want to thank our speaker coordinator. She gives us all the ideas for the speakers, and she helps us go get them. Let's give it up for the one and only Debbie Goldsberg. She's not coming up this summer. Debbie, where are you? Woo! She's back there. Stand up, Debbie. Debbie. Love you. And you're going to be seeing some of Betters of Magic later on today. She presents a couple times, and she's about it, as we say. Not only her business acumen, but she's probably one of the top activists, not just female activists, one of the top activists in the entire country, and that's pretty much inarguable. So the other guy I'd like to thank is my boy who lives in Oregon, my homie, tireless worker, unbelievable heart, best guy in the whole world. Chief petitioner of Measure 91, a big part of this conference. You saw a lot of them yesterday. You're going to see some more of them today. The more the merrier for this guy. Let's give it up for Anthony Johnson. Yeah, Anthony, come on up and introduce our keynote, brother. We just really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Alex, for the generous introduction. And our next speaker, our keynote speaker of the day, very much epitomizes what we try to accomplish here at the International Cannabis Business Conference of mixing good business sense as well as political activism and keeping the fight to end cannabis prohibition first and foremost in our minds and our practices. He has authored more than 50 travel guidebooks, self-publishing them at first, growing to produce a TV show as well as a radio show as well. And I encourage everybody, if you're thinking about traveling to Europe, to definitely check out what he has to say. Rick Steves Europe, as well as Travel with Rick Steves is his radio program. And this man has put his money where his mouth is. He has put his celebrity status to good use. He is a board member of the National Normal, and he had worked to legalize cannabis in Washington. And then when Oregon was on the ballot with Measure 91, this man came down to Oregon, did a 6-day, 10-city tour, speaking to packed houses on his own dime, not paid 1 cent, covered his own expenses, paid it for himself, and he drew crowds that were cannabis cities. That they would go there and they would not see other cannabis industry people. It was a whole new crowd of undecided voters, soccer moms, older people. He managed to sway, and while I have gotten a lot of credit for my work for Measure 91, I think this man likely is a big reason we got 56% of the vote. So give a warm welcome to travel guru, Rick Steves.
Thank you very much. My theme song. All right. Well, yeah, I had an exhilarating time with Anthony and his crew in Oregon just last year, and same thing 2 years before that in Washington State with Ellison Holcomb and the I-502 gang. And, we all get the beauty of legalizing marijuana. And I've been at this for nearly 20 years, and I thought I would just share some of my insights politically, because all eyes are on California in 2016. And I particularly am excited about winning here in a couple of years, as I know you guys are. As Anthony said, I'm a travel writer. And for me, high is a place. I wonder why am I into this? Why do I even care? Well, it's a place, and sometimes I want to go there. My speakers sound better. Suddenly I'm a good cook. Conversations slither around the room like stray cats. It's just sometimes I want to go there, and a lot of people do. And our government really can't say we can't go there. I mean, there are cases when our government says we can't go somewhere. Okay, there's a reason. But there's got to be a reason, and there's no reason we can't go to that place called high. And I think we're learning that. Now, a lot of people go there, and right now 80,000 people are in jail for exercising the civil liberty to enjoy marijuana, and we're all about changing that. I really believe that the adult, responsible use of marijuana purely for fun, recreational use, is a civil liberty. And I think that's important. When I'm out in public and so on, I always make it very clear, I am not pro-pot. I'm pro the civil liberties to smoke and enjoy pot. Pot is a drug. It can be abused, it can be addictive in certain cases. It's not healthy for you. It's not good for kids. If somebody's caught intoxicated on our roads by anything, they should throw the book at it as far as I'm concerned. But that doesn't mess up the basic principle, the basic truth that, you know, the right to smoke marijuana is a civil liberty. Now, that's been my theme in Washington, and that's been my theme in Oregon, along with all of our partners in these initiatives, and we're winning. Now, I've learned you have to present it in a certain way. You know, you can't win an election with this crowd here. You guys get it. But there's too many people that don't smoke pot, that never will smoke pot, that need to vote for pot. That's our challenge. So you present it as tax, regulate, and legalize, you see. That makes sense. I know that the laws that we've passed are disappointing to some, and I respect those who oppose it. But we are all on the same team. And the debate is idealism, yeah, God, just the best thing God ever gave us, or pragmatism. People are afraid of those freaks that smoke that stuff. You know, you've got to deal with that political reality if you want to get anywhere. If you'd rather just be idealistic, well, you can just ignore what I'm saying there, but I'm not spending all this time and money running around Oregon just to lose. You know, and I hope to come down here and spend some money and time helping out the best I can. But it needs to be something that's great. So, you know, the key is to have a public safety law that celebrates civil liberties and to reach those critical voters, the people who actually get out to the polls, which is not our crowd. You'd like to think it's your crowd, but it's not. You can give everybody a hemp fest, you know, all sorts of incentives to vote, and they're not going to vote. But the scared people in the suburbs with kids, they're going to vote. So that's our political reality. Now, to me, this is so exciting because we are fighting the prohibition of our age. History will look back at this and they'll think the prohibition against marijuana was just as wrong-minded as the prohibition against alcohol back in the 20s and 30s. And we've got to remember that you overthrow a prohibition that the government, the federal government, is hell-bent on keeping one state at a time. You do it with patience and you do it with finesse. When you look at alcohol, at first it was not alcohol is legal, it is beer is okay in New York. And then they got confident with that, the sky didn't fall, and other states would go along, and then, hey, hard liquor, and then believe it or not, they allowed people to home brew. But they still regulate, and it goes from state to state how they sell it, where it can be sold, and there's some counties that are actually still dry. And I think that's the way it needs to go with marijuana. We're fighting the same battle, and what we're up against is like $1 billion of government propaganda that has wired most American consumers of media's brains to think that marijuana is the evil weed. Now, there's two energies in this sort of cannabis world. There's the people who are seeing this green gold rush, and I think that's exciting, and I got a sense there's a lot of people going to make a lot of money. And there's people that really are a drug policy reform movement, motivated not by starting up a business, but motivated by civil liberties, all right? We are partners in this, and it's so exciting to smell victory. It is so exciting to smell victory. And as we know, when California goes, that's really clearly going to start an avalanche, and that's going to be the end of our war against marijuana. Now, I inject a European sensibility to this discussion because I've spent a third of my adult life living out of a 9 by 22 by 14 inch carry-on the airplane-sized suitcase overseas. That's what I do for work. I spend 4 months a year in Europe. I've done that for the last 30 years. Hanging out with people who find different truths to be self-evident and God-given. And over in Europe, a joint is about as exciting as a can of beer. You just don't want people up in Europe like they do here. Now, it's hard to paint Europe with broad strokes because every country has their own drug policies, and a few countries in Europe are just as progressive as much of the United States. and other countries are very, very progressive about marijuana. But a common denominator, especially in these progressive countries, is something called pragmatic harm reduction. A lot of people into drug policy reform were working on pragmatic harm reduction. It sounds good, pragmatism, reduce harm to your society. That was a catchphrase, and for 8 years of the Bush administration, anything dealing with drugs that had that phrase in it, pragmatic harm reduction, was tossed out without any discussion, because that was just a sneaky approach to legalizing marijuana. But that's what it is all about in Europe, is helping society. In our society, we measure the effectiveness of our drug programs by how many people do we lock up. Now, in Europe, my friends reminded me that a society has to make a choice: tolerate alternative lifestyles or build more prisons. And then they always remind me that we Americans lock up 8 times as many people per capita as they do. Either we are inherently more criminal people, or we've got some screwy laws. And you can make your own judgment on that. But I like a society where drug addicts, and there are drug addicts, there are people that are sucked into the nightmare of hard drug addiction. I like a society that treats those people not as criminals, but as people that need help. And that's what Europe does. And America's coming around that revelation.
Elitist. Just like any other dishwashing, burger flipping, public school educated, self-employed, bar band, musician, National Guardsman, he's Radical Russ.
All right, great stuff from Rick Steves there. And when we come back from break, we've got some more video from the International Cannabis Business Conference. Troy Dayton from the ArcView Group discusses the growth of the legal marijuana industry. And we got John W. Lee from MCLR, the Marijuana Control, Legislate, and Regulate Act. I may have gotten that wrong. But anyway, MCLR 2016. He'll be here as well. Stay tuned. We're back in just 90 seconds.
.420 Radio, your ticket to the Boston Freedom Rally. At Herbie's Cannabis Seeds, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best quality seeds from the world's most respected cannabis seed producers, all at the lowest online prices. You can find Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. All cannabis seeds are sold as souvenirs and as a means of preserving cannabis genetics. Herbie's Seeds in no way intends to condone, promote, or incite the use of illegal or controlled substances. We strongly urge all prospective customers to check their national laws prior to placing an order. Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. Proud sponsors of the Russ Belville Show. Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org.
Señoras y señores, directamente de Chicago, Illinois, los marihuanos. ¡Aplauso, aplauso!
I guess it's time to get high. It's time to get high.
Welcome back, everyone. 49 after the hour. We're going to go to more video from the International Cannabis Business Conference featuring Troy Dayton describing the marijuana growth industry.
Here's just some, I'm going to intersperse some pictures so you can kind of see some of the pitching process going on. So let's go into sort of sources of funding. Pretty much initially in this industry, it was almost all friends and family were the people who invested in the cannabis businesses. And now that's still an option for a lot of people, is to get money from friends and family. Very recently, we've started to see venture capital get into the space. These are both firms that are developed specifically to invest in this market. Now, in most industries, a venture capital fund is like $100 million to $1 billion funds. In our industry, these are $5 to $75 million funds, because we're still pretty nascent, that are investing into this sector. And then we've seen people like Peter Thiel and Founders Fund investing into the sector as well. And so we're just starting to see that piece of the ecosystem of funding start to fill out. Another obvious one would be loans. Problem is, in this industry, even for most ancillary businesses, bank loans are really not an option. And so there's a whole opportunity for both investors and entrepreneurs to take on loans, particularly if it's a business where you're getting a limited license. Loans can be a really great option because these are businesses that cash flow very quickly. And so in many cases, it makes more sense to do it as a loan with a high interest rate as opposed to doing equity deals. And then you see a lot of people accessing the public markets. How many people have seen some of the press releases from some of the public companies in this space? Buyer beware. 90, I would say somewhere, somewhere between 75 and 90% of the companies that are in the public markets right now that say that they're related to cannabis are not necessarily the companies you want to be working with. That being said, there are some that are very good, and going to the public markets is a way that many companies have been able to find access to funds that are difficult to get in other places. It's a very dicey proposition. One of the things that I hear from a lot of people that work in the public markets is that when you decide to do a reverse merger and become a publicly traded company, that your whole world shifts, because now you have two businesses. You have to run your business, and then you also have to run the business that is the stock side of things. And when you're a very, very small company, the incentives are part of the reason why there's a big problem in the public markets, is that if you're a tiny company where your business is only bringing in you less than $1 million a year or $1 million or $2 million a year, but the opportunity on the stock is to bring in so much more, well, then the incentives are misplaced, and you wind up having more incentive to write press releases than run businesses. And so it can be a real challenge. There's also a lot of legal liability in the public markets. That being said, there are a number of companies that have done it. They've been very, very successful at it because there's a lot of public exuberance about cannabis. And then lastly is sort of angel investors. And that's kind of what we tend to focus on, although we have representatives of all of these other different folks in ArcView as well. But angel investors tend to be the kind of investors that people want, because angel investors, unlike venture capital firms that usually want a seat on the board and they drive a hard bargain, angel investors tend to be more the kind of people that are going to take minority stakes in companies, and then also be really supportive and tend to have some value add into the mix based on their previous experience. And one of the things that I think makes the cannabis industry really unique is that we have a lot of investors for whom they're passionate about this. They're passionate about this. This is an exciting thing for them. So we have an opportunity as businesses raising money in this space to offer investors something that's a little more exciting, that kind of adds to their meaning quotient in life. And so that provides an opportunity to develop different kinds of investor relationships than you might have, that may be easily accessible in other industries. So here's just I'm going to intersperse some pictures so you can kind of see some of the pitching process going on.
We're back at the International Cannabis Business Conference, and joining me here at the desk we have John W. Lee. He is the director of MCLR 2016 and the Americans for Policy Reform. So, all right, we're talking about legalization. Let's get into this. MCLR 2016. Everybody's looking at California for 2016. What's your plan?
Well, thank you, Russ. Thanks. Good to see you again. For several years, as most people know, MCLR worked towards trying to get qualified for the ballot for 2014. Through multiple efforts, unfortunately, we failed to get on the ballot for this year. So as everybody's coming together, we've continued to keep the options open for MCLR. And in our travels throughout the state and remaining quiet since the end of the qualification period for 14, we got a lot of input from the community. If you know about MCLR, it was a community-based grassroots effort. It was the first of its kind that went all the way to qualifying for, or at least filing, getting a title summary from the Attorney General. It was recognized as one of the best pieces of legislation for marijuana legislation at the time. And so through a lot of efforts throughout the state, people communicating, attending a lot of these functions, you see that most people are still in a quandary about what the language will be ultimately. Mm-hmm. So our interest at this point, through a lot of discussion from people and support from people throughout the state, they've been wondering what MCLR has been doing, whether or not we were going to at least provide our services to the community. And as of this week, we are going to be making those decisions. And I'm actually here with you today to announce that we are opening up the language for MCLR.
Excellent.
MCLR, again, a grassroots effort to provide language and input from everybody in the community throughout the state. Again, we have a tremendous support from the people, obviously, at this function, but also throughout the state to do something to combine groups to create a common language, and we're opening that up very shortly to do that. In fact, it is available now. You can see it as a bit.ly link on the HTTP format, bit.ly/MCLR2016. You can go to that link and you'll be able to see the current language, and that situation again will be open for people to contribute to, as we did for the last year. So we're pleased to announce that as an effort of cooperation from all organizations with our community, and part of the message that you're hearing at this particular event is just that. Let's try to find some common ground, common language, and fortunately we've done most of the hard work already, so we feel MCLR's language certainly is leading the pack, or at least finds the baseline for everybody to work from. And so once again, we're announcing that now, that the language is open for input.
Check it out at bit.ly/MCLR2016 for the MCLR 2016 language input. And, you know, John, California is a huge and diverse state. I'm trying to find out the input from all these different disparate groups. I'm sure you find growers in Northern California who have one set of ideas. People in the Inland Empire might be a little more conservative on things. Younger voters want something that's more idealistic. What have you heard from people around California about what they want to see in legalization?
Well, fortunately, that was the basis for what MCLR did originally. We solicited input from all different parts of the community, including our opposition. So as you see the various pieces of MCLR come together, we are addressing those things, whether it's an age limitation, whether it's a licensing, taxation, and revenues. These are things that we know are going to be part of the legislation for 16. We vetted most of the language over the last year and a half or a couple of years, and again, most everybody's aware of it. So fortunately, right now, we have an all-encompassing document. And as we move forward to finalize language with all the groups that we're speaking about, we expect that we'll follow a model similar to what we've done. It'll be inclusive. It will provide input from everybody in the community so that we don't miss anything. And at the tail end, of course, we'll make sure that it's legally and legislatively viable.
Fantastic. John Lee is with Americans for Policy Reform, and your email, john@afpr.us, if you want to get in touch with them, and check out the bit.ly link, bit.ly/MCLR2016, so that your voice can be heard. And moving forward with this, is this just for gathering information and input to create some language? Is this also a fundraising thing, a political action? Tell us more.
Thank you. Actually, this is our initial phase. We'll make some initial announcements right now, but it was pertinent that we got the opportunity for the language at this point. We'll make
Sorry to have to cut off John
along,
Lee on the interview, but we're out of time. Time flies when you legalize. Thanks for joining us here from Rolla J Studios in Portland, Oregon, and everyone here at 420 Radio. I'm Radical Russ. Until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you